Okay, finally, I gotta finally focus. God, people love to walk fast. Take a picture. Yeah. Liam! Please say this works. Hello, it's Jesse Hansen and I'm back with the video. And this video I've been meaning to make for a really long time, but I just haven't had the time to get to it. A lot of other people's stories have been told about this, and I felt like I just really wanted to share my story. But this video it's not necessarily a coming out video, but it's a video about me coming out. This might be a shock to some of my friends or even some of my family. Anyways, I'm going to be talking kind of just about my experience of coming out and kind of how it changed my life, what it introduced me to, who it introduced me to, what it exposed me to, you know, risks, you know, things like that and all that. But this is a happy story. This isn't a very sad story. I grew up with two dads, and I was adopted from Cambodia, and my brother was also adopted from Cambodia. So that's our family, just as is, you know, something you don't. It wasn't very common when I was younger, but now we have a couple of friends who are, you know, two fathers or two mothers adopting people from, you know, Cambodia, all over the world. It's more common now, but when I was younger, it wasn't that, you know, seen that much in my town. Growing up with gay parents, it's something that a lot of people say, you know, it's like, wow, that's really cool and all that. And it is. I think that, you know, I love my parents and they love me and they love my brother. Growing up when I was younger, not so much preschool, but maybe when I got into, you know, elementary ages, and it would be at the end of the day and people's parents would come and pick them up, and other kids in my classes would say, "Oh, where's your mom?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't have a mom. I have two dads." And they would be like, "Oh, that's so good." So, I thought that, like, looking back at that now, that's pretty cool that there was a lot of young kids who, you know, really accepted, and thought that two gay parents was a cool thing. Looking back at that, that's something really cool and something that the world is improving on. I think that's great. As a little kid, I was really, really obsessed with Disney princesses and drawing them and watching the movies and all that. And that's also a way that I got into fashion, actually. I would draw the dresses, I would draw, you know, just portraits of the princesses. While the other kids were playing race cars and Power Rangers, I would be, you know, with the girls pretending to play princess and dressing up in the princess dresses in preschool. One memory I remember very clearly, and this was so young, but I remember it so clearly. It was around Halloween time, and one of my friends had gotten a Halloween catalog, and those things were the best. They had all the costumes and all that, and it was maybe me and 12 other, you know, kids, and we were all looking at these costumes, and people were ripping costumes out that they want to be, and things like that, you know. Oh, Sarah got, you know, the fairy princess, Matthew, he got the red Power Ranger, Michael got the Ninja Turtle, and so we were all kind of like, everyone was kind of choosing like what they wanted to be and all that. And then finally, the boy who had the catalog, he asked me, "Jesse, what do you want to be?" And I had taken a few pages and flipped back, and I'd gone back to, I'm not really sure what the costume was, but what it looked like a flower girl, but kind of more like majestical, is that even a word? It was like a Disney, like, princess type themed, and it had, you know, long hair, and it had, you know, a bouquet that it came with, and some shoes, and a really nice pretty dress. And I said, I want that one. I said, I want to be that. I want to be that for Halloween. And he kind of looked at me and he's like, "Are you sure? Like, are you sure?" And I was kind of like, "Yeah, I really want that. Like, my friend Sarah got that one. Like, I want it too." And so he ripped it out, and, it was, I don't know, it was interesting because all the other guys had gotten, the very boyish, type of stereotypical costumes that little boys would wear. But I wanted the princess flower thing. Then moving on to my older years, not older years, but like upper elementary. So I went to a Montessori school. So it was lower elementary, first, second, third grade, upper elementary, fourth, fifth, and sixth. And so at this point, people were developing, and by that I mean that stage in life where you're kind of just realizing that you're like getting older, and you kind of have like mood swings and stuff like that and all that. One thing that came into my life at that point was talking about boys, talking about girls, talking about dating, and our favorite Disney crush and stuff like that. I remember my celebrity crush was not a girl. It was definitely a boy. That's when I first kind of noticed things about me, where I realized that I might not be like the other boys. My friend group was mainly girls at the time. I had a few friends who were guys, but they were like really, really close friends. I never had a group of friends who were guys that I hung out with. I had a group of girls that I hung out with. And the first time I kind of really thought about it, I had watched like maybe a movie. I think it was Glee or something, and Kurt was the gay character. It got me thinking more about me and like who I am, and like wow, like I like dancing to Beyonce. I like, I think boys are good looking, but I don't want to, do anything sexual with them or anything. And that's what I thought at the time. I was just like, oh, I'm just a person who likes people. I just like people, and I like, I think boys can look handsome and all that. And then middle school came, and this was kind of more of the stage in my life where I started thinking more about it. And at this point, I think I had known that I liked boys. I had known that I liked boys from a very young age, but this was when I was not realizing it, but just accepting that it was part of who I am. In 8th grade, I had my first girlfriend, actually. I asked a girl, I asked a girl on Facebook Messenger if she wanted to date me. She was in my class. But meanwhile, I definitely had boys on my mind as well. I knew that I liked, the ways boys, physiques looked. I definitely knew when I saw a hot guy that I knew he was hot. I definitely knew when I would see, I don't know. It was interesting. I was never really that into wanting to kiss a girl or make out with a girl. But then again, making out with a boy wasn't on my mind either. So that's when I was kind of like, I'm not quite sure. Yeah, then we broke up. Then I went into high school. As some of you know, I go to an art school, and this definitely does not mean that every, art school is like this. The school that I am in right now has a very, very diverse community in terms of personalities, sexualities, and where people are from, and it was definitely eye-opening. I honestly want to say that I was shocked with how many gay guys were at this school. And so that gave me kind of feeling of a feeling of comfort to know that being gay here is definitely not frowned upon. It's not something that you're bullied for. Freshman year, I remember, such a bad memory. I think it was literally the second week of school. There's this girl that I thought was really pretty, and her name was Kate, and I kind of flirted with her or something, or I tried. I'm not sure what happened, but it was a mess. I was a mess. I looked like a mess, and I don't know why people would even interact with me as a freshman. I was so ratchet. I didn't have my shit together. I didn't know who I was. I didn't feel comfortable with who I was yet, and this was a new environment, so I was just like, let me just try to readjust myself, not change myself, but let's try to mix things up a bit. The second week of school, after like a study hall or something, we were leaving like the hall area, and I basically just I kissed her, and it was really weird. It was really awkward. I remember I had that will be another story if I had the courage to tell that story. Yeah, I kissed a girl, and it didn't do anything for me, and I was like, and that was actually I don't want to count it as my first kiss. She was the first girl who I had kissed on the lips. So it was my first, yeah. And it was just a peck. We were literally walking, and I just kissed her. And oh my god, that was really, really odd. It wasn't funny at the time, it was really embarrassing at the time, but now looking back at it, it's something that I really laugh at and I just cringe at. So, but basically, that didn't do anything for me, and I remember I had talked to a friend about it. I had talked to a friend about who I was and all that stuff, and I had said, I might like guys, and this friend, he was a junior at the time, and him and I had become really, really close throughout the years. But the first year, he really helped me with coming out. But I also had another friend, her name is Aubriana, and we used to have a joke about a rainbow shirt. It would be something like, she'd see me and she'd be like, "Oh, Jesse, you have your rainbow shirt out today?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do, yes." Something like that. And then I was like that at time, it was like a joke, but then as the weeks kind of moved on, I realized that maybe this rainbow shirt is something I really do need to pull out of my closet. Something that I really need to not wear, and it's something that I need to just embrace. Does that make any sense? That sounds absolutely... I'm trying to be helpful, but I'm just a mess. Basically, I had to stop putting on a mask, and I had to just accept who I was, and that rainbow shirt represented that mask, and I had to take it off, and I had to accept who I was. And so I remember, I have the Snapchat saved somewhere, but I had told her, I think the rainbow shirt's for real. And basically I came out to her. And she was so happy, and to this day, she's the nicest girl I know. At that time, it was time for me to come out to friends and family, but I remember I told someone in my dorm about it, and he was all very supportive and all that. But the next day, I was sitting at a table at breakfast, and I was surrounded by 12 of my friends, and they were all girls. And this guy, and my friend who I told, walked over, and this friend's a guy, and he walks over and he says, "Oh, did you come out to your friends yet?" And I was just like, "Fuck you," fuck you. He was just walking around, and I was just like, "Fuck you," fuck you, fuck. And my friend Annie was just sitting next to me and just rubbing my back. I wanted to low-key kill him. But then, the word, people probably thought that he was just, being mean and teasing me and all that, because that's kind of what we did. But at the time, it was a serious thing, and I was I want to be the one to say that. When Kate found out, she was in my history class, and she had heard maybe either before or during the class, because at the end of the class, when everyone was leaving the class, she was like, "So Jesse, you're gay?" And I said, yeah, Kate, I am. And I just gave her a big smile, and she's like, "Congratulations." and all that. I mean, we're friends and all that. Like, there wasn't any bad things between us. It was just awkwardness for like a little while until like it came out. And it's something that even like her and I have laughed about at one point. Then it came out to my parents, and I don't know why. My parents are gay, but this coming out to my parents was, for some reason, one of the hardest things I've ever experienced in my life. One of the most stressful things I've ever experienced in my life. One of my dads had come over to school to eat lunch with me, and it was on my birthday, and he brought, you know, cookies and all that, and that was when I wanted to tell him. I wanted to tell him on my birthday. I don't know why, but it was just a good day, and so I remember telling him, and he was obviously he was very accepting, and both of my dads were, and my brother found out maybe a little bit later. He asked me about it when I come home, maybe the next week, and he was like, "Jesse, you like boys?" And I'm just like, "Yeah." Him and I are pretty close. We're different, but we're close. Like, he'll tell me about his girl things. I won't tell him about my boy things, just because, one, I don't have any. I mean, it's like it's a funny relationship. And then later on in life, I've met people who have had, you know, struggles with accepting who they are, who are afraid to come out and all that. And I love being the person to talk about those things. I love when people come to me and ask about, you know, my coming out experience and all that. And so that's why I kind of made this video for people who don't live in the room next to me or above me or below me, to, you know, hear about my story and hear how I kind of, you know, went through things and how I thought through, you know, kind of how to accept myself for who I was. But I love being the person that people come to. I love when people ask about my story. I love telling my story. So my number one tip for advice for people who are afraid of coming out to their parents, to their family, to their friends, is definitely make sure that you feel comfortable. Coming out is something that you do if you feel comfortable with doing. It's not a requirement that people need to label themselves by a certain age or anything. Make sure that you feel that it's right to do, and make sure it's something that you feel that, you know, is true to yourself. Don't come out to satisfy other people's judgments or opinions on you. Don't come out for other people. Does that make sense? Basically, you're your own person, and you speak for who you are, and you do things for who you are. And I don't think that any person's identity is in the possession of anyone else's. And that's really what I want to bring to this channel. I want to bring love. I want to bring love. I want to bring peace. I want to bring just happiness and joy in people's lives. And that's why I like making videos, because I love connecting with the community. And being almost 18, I've experienced, you know, quite a lot of things that teenagers go through, and that's what I want to talk more about on this channel. I want to talk about things that people my age are going through, and, you know, ways that I could help people potentially. If you have any coming out story, comment below in the comments, or if you don't want to post it on the internet, my Instagram is always open for messages, and I hope you all have a great time with whatever the rest of the day that you're doing the rest of the I hope you all have a nice rest of your day, and I will see you later. Alright, stay lovely. Low-key promoting myself.
If we are truly created equal, then surely the love we commit to one another must be equal as well.
In the world, out of cares, out of money, too messy hair, underwear, skies of tinted blue, tired eyes, party nights, end up blazing fire. Though you're crazy, you're the one that my heart desires. Yes, I'm into that type of grace. And I do like tattoos and a gentle face. Don't do shit, but I know I've been high on you. From the way you bite your lip